I watched the FNAF 2 movie on opening weekend, and now I thought it would be appropriate to reflect and give my honest opinions about the movie, and explain why I believe the FNAF 2 movie is an improvement of the first film. I rewatched the first film the night before watching the sequel, and I can confidently say that it is way better than the first. Disclaimer, there are spoilers in this video, so if you have not watched the FNAF 2 movie yet, save this video for later, go watch the movie, and come back to this. You have been warned. So with all that being said, here is my review on the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie. I have split up the different aspects of the film that I want to focus and talk about. Those being the story, the characters, animatronics, and anything else in between that doesn't specifically fit into a category. Now that that's all out of the way, here's why FNAF 2 is an improvement of the first film. Plot-wise, I think it did a really good job at taking what the first film does and takes it up a notch. Along with that, I really enjoyed how they took things from the FNAF 2 game and brought it to life, and how it ties in properly with the ongoing story. And through the chaos the movie had, it was still able to provide a good and understandable explanation of lore, so even my friend who doesn't know much about FNAF was able to comprehend it. For example, walking into the theater, I was curious as to how the toy animatronics were going to be able to roam outside the pizzeria, which it was then explained in the movie. I did think that the multiple people being inside the marionette doll was a bit confusing to grasp, but nothing too crazy. The only complaint that I had story-wise was about the ending of the film. The two of my friends and I all agreed that it was kind of lackluster. I did like that they brought the animatronics back from the first movie. Just the way that they used them made it feel like it was more like Avenger Endgame style. And my god, the cliffhanger of Doom at the end didn't help either. I felt like I was leaving the theater with so many more questions than I had walking into the theater. Which, yeah, can be a good thing. I just feel like they could have handled the ending a little bit better. But overall, the story was pretty good. I think the characters were definitely improved upon in this film compared to the first. The core characters of Mike, Vanessa, and Abby were great, and we know how they usually are. But I want to focus more on the new characters introduced in this movie. There were a lot of characters that I thought weren't going to play a big role and ended up playing a bigger part. For example, Lisa. To be completely honest with you, I thought the Ghost Hunter scene was going to be the opening scene and sort of lay the foundation of this newly discovered Freddy's, where they'd all end up dying before the intro. But I was gladly surprised with the Ghost Hunter's involvement, and especially Lisa, as she gets taken over by the marionette. We even had fucking Henry Emily show up in this film. Now, although I wish he had a bigger role in the film, looking back at it, it isn't a big deal, and I do hope he has a bigger role in the potential third film. But if there's just one character that I want to take a second to talk about, it's none other than Michael Afton. From the moment I saw the dude with the purple shirt and the security badge, and he said his name was Michael for crying out loud, I was like 90% sure that he was an Afton. But even knowing that, when he revealed that he was Michael Afton, my jaw dropped for about 10 seconds. My brain immediately started thinking of all these things that now have the possibility of happening with Michael Afton introduced into the story. I'm not gonna lie, there was a part of me that thought that our Mike was gonna be revealed as the Afton, so I'm really glad that that didn't happen. But similar to Henry, I think he deserved more screen time, but he will most definitely play a bigger role in the next film. This section about the animatronics isn't going to be too long, but there's a couple things that came to mind about the animatronics while watching the movie. I thought that the withered animatronics looked insane. It was almost as if they were like one-to-one copies from the games. They were by far the scariest, especially Bonnie and Foxy. If you know, you know. And I also thought that the toy animatronics were executed perfectly. When it was revealed in October that the toy animatronics had voice actors, a big thing I was worried about was the toys having too much dialogue, but I think the movie did a really good job with the voice lines. I also don't know why I expected Toy Bonnie to have the generic Matt Pat Game Theory style voice, but he did a better job than I expected. And Megan Fox had the perfect Toy Chica voice. I was a little caught off guard by Freddy's voice. I just didn't expect Toy Freddy to have the security breach voice. That was all. That was my only worry. I thought Mango was really well done, and by the way, that chase with Vanessa was really cool. Overall, they hit the animatronics out of the park on the second one. I was going to add a section for Easter eggs, but looking back at it now, there was a couple that I just can't remember off the top of my head. So this miscellaneous category is kind of just stuff that like I still remember from the film. I didn't include this in the story, but I thought that the 1982 flashback sequence in the beginning of the film was perfect. There were a couple of things I wanted to see live action, and this was one of them. The way we sort of got a missing child incident and the death of Charlie was a perfect combo. I thought that Vanessa's hallucinations and dreams were pretty cool, because even though we knew that William Afton wasn't a threat in this movie, he was still very menacing in the flashback sequences and the hallucinations. And also, that circus baby reveal was absolutely nuts. That was like the last animatronic I expected to show up in this movie, but my god, did that get me hyped. Another thing that I really wanted to see before walking into the film was a FNAF 2 Defend the Office, and we actually got that. I thought that Mike defending the office against the withered animatronics was perfectly done. Getting to see Mike defend the office felt nostalgic to the games and represented what it felt like to be the security guard. Now I have two things left that I wanted to talk about. That mid-credit scene. Holy shit. First off, the live-action Springtrap suit looks absolutely insane. It was almost inevitable that FNAF 3 was going to happen, but my god, does this just get me that much more hyped. And lastly, the end credits Henry voice line. When I heard Henry's first line, my jaw dropped. I immediately thought of the Lore Keeper Secrets and Pieces Sim, and the amount of things that they can do with the next movie just increased 10x. And I can't believe we have to wait like 2 years for the next movie to come out. With all that being said, these were what I thought helped FNAF 2 improve the movie compared to the first one, and in the end, I gave FNAF 2 a 9 out of 10. If just a few things were tweaked and the ending was a little bit better, it could definitely be a 10 for me. If you enjoyed this video, I would highly recommend subscribing so you don't miss any more FNAF videos in the future. Thanks for watching.